Do you live in the US and want fast, fresh and tasty meals without the hassle of shopping or all that hard work preparation? Well, don't you worry, as a lazy man, I've got you covered. Try America's #1 meal kit service, HelloFresh, and get yourself fresh, pre-portioned ingredients delivered direct to your door. So why not eat well, stay healthy, and avoid the cost of regular takeout by trying HelloFresh? Just click the link in the description below for a special limited time discount and free shipping as well. Enjoy. Hello and welcome along to another mini midweek championship predictions from the Honest Football Podcast. 5 games to sink our teeth into this midweek, all taking place on Tuesday night, and there's some big fixtures at both ends of the table. So let's go and head straight into them. We'll do our full recap of the weekend's fixtures and these midweek ones for next Saturday's episode. That will be on Thursday afternoon. But for now, let's go and talk about the first of these 5 games. It's a pretty big one up in the northwest. It is Blackburn Rovers versus Blackpool. Both sides recorded 1-0 wins at the weekend. Very different circumstances, I think that's fair to say. Blackburn, in a fairly even game against Swansea, did exactly what you would expect. They managed to take advantage of the fact that Swansea are poor defending aerially, and they scored a late winner through Daniel Ayala. 2 big men combining for a headed goal, and 3 crucial points for Blackburn. Sends them back up to 7th, just on the cusp of the playoffs, outside on goal difference at the minute. But a really crucial win after what was 3 successive draws, frustrating days. But it does stretch the unbeaten run now all the way back to January. In terms of Blackpool, it was a crucial first win under Mick McCarthy. And I mean this politely, I have no idea how they managed it. They scored with their first and only shot on target in the 7th minute. And after that, Stoke had 70% of the ball, 25 shots, 6 on target. Blackpool had no further ones, and a couple of real clear-cut chances too. I have no idea how Blackpool won the game, but quite frankly, who cares? A 1-0 win when you don't deserve it, we all know is the best one as a football fan. And just for Mick McCarthy to get the side off the mark, with a few players injured and suspended too, makes a real difference. So I do think that that could be a turning point. However, away from home this season, it has not been a good year. Neither is it at home really, to be honest. 14 points, just the 3 wins away from Bloomfield Road. And Blackburn at home, for all of their struggles on the road and for all of their inconsistency, they have been very good at home this year. 10 wins from 15 games, only letting 13 goals, which is the joint second least. I think they'll win quite comfortably, and it's a chance for them to get into the playoffs ahead of the weekend fixtures. I think they're going to win it, and I think it might be a little more convincing than normal. I don't want to go too low scoring this week, and there is something about me that says Blackpool are going to nick a result here. You've only seen a 1-second gap here. I've been thinking about this for about 4 minutes. I'm going to go for Blackburn to edge it 2-1. There's something about it that's just telling me it's going to be 2-2. There's nothing to back that up. So I'm going to be furious if it is. But 2-1 Blackburn. I think the home side win on paper. Next up, we move on to a very big game at the top as Millwall host Burnley at the Den. Millwall, thanks to another Tom Bradshaw hat-trick, got a 3-2 victory at home to Sheffield United. A wonderful game of championship football. Whereas Burnley, much the opposite, a gritty 1-0 win at Luton via a penalty, an even game between 2 hard-fought teams. And while I've got my opinions on the officiating and the fact that the game was slowed down a lot, Burnley are a very good side. There is no doubt in that. You can see why they barely lose a game. They were really solid, one of the best teams to visit Kenilworth Road this year. And they've got that threat on the counter, albeit Luton did manage to nullify it for the most part. So this is going to be a real battle because Millwall at home are fabulous. They've only lost 2 games there all year. Burnley have only lost 2 games on the road all season. I mean, all roads lead to the scoreline I'm going to predict, but I wouldn't be shocked if either team nicked this. I'm going to go for 1-1, the Championship's favourite scoreline. It so often pops up in midweeks. It did for Burnley versus Watford as well, didn't it? I can see Burnley having a threat on the counter. I can see Millwall being strong from set pieces and long balls. Can actually see it being a very similar game to the Luton Burnley one. I'm just banking on Millwall to take a chance. So 1-1, but Burnley will keep the unbeaten run going. And they are miles clear at the top, so they'll probably take that. Let's head over to Carrow Road next as Norwich City host Birmingham City. Norwich, frustrated at Wigan, didn't create an awful lot at all in a 0-0 draw. After what we'd seen by David Wagner's side against some of the bottom half teams in the league, I was expecting a bit more going forward. A really quiet day at the office, but maybe you've just got to say Sean Maloney's Wigan have been so solid under him. maybe that we just have to say that's a decent point and move on. Norwich still in that playoff mix, only 3 points away. And against Birmingham, who after those 2 good results against Swansea and West Brom, have just gone back to normal. They took the lead, they squandered loads of good chances against Huddersfield, but they got Neil Warnock's first game, and unfortunately puts them in a little bit of trouble. Now, we took a lot of stick in pre-season, as many people did, for predicting Birmingham to go down. We also kept quiet during some of the abusive comments as they were flying up in the top half towards the halfway point of the season. But now, with the results we saw at the weekend, they are just 7 points clear, and really, anyone up to QPR have probably been dragged back into this now. So a little bit of a concern because Huddersfield and Blackpool getting wins under new managers, Wigan looking a lot better. Those 4 sides above have probably got to start looking over their shoulder. And Birmingham need to start picking up points. Now, we saw earlier in the season for Birmingham, when they go away to the top sides, they try their very best to hold out for a 0-0. They set up defensively, they play to their strengths, and generally they've been quite good at it. The question in this game is whether Norwich City can break Birmingham down. And my answer is yes, just because Birmingham are struggling for confidence. They aren't keeping goals out as well as they were earlier in the year. I don't think this is going to be a fabulous game. I'm going to go for Norwich City to nick it. I wanted to go 2-0, but I'm only going to go for 1 because Norwich have only scored in 1 of their last 4 games. 2 to go, and the next one is a bigger one at both ends of the table again. Rotherham United versus Sunderland. After that strong start, again, Rotherham starting to struggle now. 5 without a win, 2 defeats in a row, and against Coventry, they never really looked like getting a result. Just 1 shot on target, and it's been an Achilles heel all season for Rotherham. Not getting enough shots on goal. Yes, having some pop shots from range, but not really creating great chances. And Sunderland, well, a 1-1 draw against Bristol City, frustration with that last-minute penalty, but we all know how good they are on the road. They're 5th place in the league overall for that, only lost 4 away games all season. And Rotherham at home are okay, bit of a mixed bag. 5 wins, 5 draws, 5 defeats. If they do win, it's normally a pretty big one, isn't it? They've had a couple of 4-0s already. Sunderland are in those playoff places. Rotherham could go into the relegation zone this week. They're just in 21st place. They're already 2 points clear. And with the likes of Blackpool in action, it could be a very tough midweek for them. I have to back Sunderland to win. The players they have, they're so good on the counter. They're so strong away from home. They've torn teams apart. We saw with QPR the other week. I think Rotherham will try and keep it tight, but they've let in 2 in each of their last 2 games. And I'm going to bank on the same here. I'm going for Sunderland to keep a clean sheet and to win this game by 2-0. And the final game of Tuesday night is Swansea City versus Stoke City. 2 sides that lost 1-0 against the sides that we've mentioned in the first fixture. But it was very different circumstances. Swansea, the same old Achilles heel defensively. And Stoke, I don't know how they didn't win. I don't know how they didn't take some chances in that game. They have got better defensively in recent weeks. Just 3 goals conceded in the last 6 games in all competitions. That's 3 of the last 4 they haven't scored in. 2 of the last 3 Swansea haven't scored in. And they're shipping goals for fun. If there's one thing you want to bank on in this game, it's probably there being goals. But there is a chance these 2 could cancel each other out. Stoke will play on the counter. Swansea will keep the ball for as long as they possibly can. And Swansea very rarely draw at home, so that's taking out my preferred result. I'm going to go on a hunch on this one. I didn't do it in one of the earlier games, so I feel I have to do it once. I think when Swansea play at home to bottom half sides, bar that ridiculous ending against Birmingham, they have generally been alright. Stoke away from home are a proper mixed bag. They've lost more than they've won. And they've had some really poor away days where they've lacked invention. They've lost by 1-0. It could well be that again. If I was going for it, I'd probably say a 1-0 scoreline. But I'm going on my hunch. And that means I'm going crazy. Let's have some goals in midweek. Swansea City 3, Stoke City 1. And let's have a quick recap of what I've gone for this midweek. Very tricky to predict. Millwall and Burnley are going to cancel each other out. I'm going for a 1-1 draw at the Den there. Sunderland's continue their brilliant away form. And all of the rest of the home sides to get victories. So Norwich, Blackburn and Swansea could be having a good midweek. Stoke and Birmingham going to be left looking over their shoulders. Those are just my predictions though. Do you agree with them or disagree? Let me know in the comment section and give us your predictions for this midweek's action. If you do beat us, of course, you will get a mention in the weekend recap. That will be live on Thursday, our next predictions. Will we have any manager specials before then? There's a couple that are possibly on the brink. If you want to stay up to date and find out, subscribe and turn that notification bell on. If you enjoyed this one, please do chuck a thumbs up on it. But a massive thank you for watching as always. I'll see you on Thursday for our next weekend predictions.